You're holding a commercial pilot's license and an $80,000 debt that no regional airline is interested in helping you pay back. Every application you submit comes back with the same polite refusal. You've spent 5 years learning to master the sky, only to realize you can't afford to stand on the ground. The offer comes from a man who doesn't give you his name or a business card. He offers you $10,000 in cash, more than you'd make in 4 months of instructing, to fly a single route that bypasses every official waypoint in the region. He hands you the keys to a single-engine Cessna with more rust than paint. The cargo bay is packed with $4 million in bulk currency, shrink-wrapped and ready for a southward run across the border. In the logic of this business, there is no flight insurance or search and rescue. If your engine fails over the canopy, the organization doesn't file a report. They don't look for pilots. They look for the payload. You realize quickly that your primary qualification isn't your flight hours. It's the fact that your name doesn't appear on a single manifest, making you the only part of the aircraft that can disappear without a trace. You fly at 50 feet. At this altitude, you're below the horizon of regional radar systems, but within seconds of a collision. You've turned off your navigation lights to stay dark, relying entirely on an analog altimeter and the silhouette of the trees against the moonlight. A single mechanical stall or a miscalculated downdraft turns the aircraft into a data point. This wreckage isn't an accident to be investigated. It's a permanent fixture of the landscape. If you survive the flight but the money doesn't make it to the destination, the organization doesn't ask for a refund. They view a missing shipment as a deliberate theft, and they settle that debt with a methodical, slow-moving violence that ensures no one else will ever make the same mistake. Surviving your first year isn't a testament to your skill. It's a matter of pure probability. You are simply one of the few who didn't encounter the wrong gust of wind or a faulty spark plug before you became useful. After 24 months of clean runs, the atmosphere changes. You're no longer the kid they found at the municipal strip. You've survived the statistical culling that claims most newcomers, and that survival earns you a different class of equipment. You're moved into a fleet of twin-engine turboprops. These aircraft are faster, have redundant systems, and are designed to carry significantly more weight over much longer distances. The cargo changes along with the plane. You've graduated from hauling paper currency to industrial-scale narcotics. Each flight now carries a streak value that exceeds the lifetime earnings of everyone you grew up with. Your concerns shift from mechanical failure to electronic detection. At this speed and altitude, the jungle canopy is no longer your primary threat. You are now being tracked by high-altitude border enforcement radar and predator drones. Professionalization brings a new kind of risk. The more valuable the payload, the more resources international law enforcement is willing to burn to bring you down. The safety of a second engine is balanced against the heat of a federal task force. You learn that the sky isn't actually empty. It's a grid of managed sectors, and in this region, those sectors are often controlled by men who consider their salary a mere suggestion. Air traffic controllers become a standard line item in the organization's monthly budget. This is how a technical blackout works. A controller on the payroll manually overrides the secondary radar feed for a prearranged 10-minute window. To anyone else watching the screen, that sector of the sky is empty. To you, it's an open door. The landing is a precision drill. You touch down on a remote desert highway where the ground crew is already waiting. You don't even kill the engines. 2 tons of product are moved in less than 3 minutes, and you're back at cruising altitude before the radar window closes. But the system only works if every link in the chain stays bought. If a payment is late or a commander wants to look like a hero for the evening news, your clean runway turns into an ambush. At this stage, your hands on the yoke are secondary. You are flying on the strength of a ledger. Your survival depends on whether the bookkeepers in the city stayed as disciplined as you did in the cockpit. You're grounded for your own protection, transitioning into the role of Chief of Air Logistics. You manage 30 aircraft and 60 pilots from a high-rise office, treating the sky like a giant chessboard. You no longer bribe individual towers. You coordinate the compromise of entire regional radar grids, utilizing internal intelligence to identify the specific maintenance cycles and technical gaps in military-grade surveillance. You implement the ghost flight. By directing 3 planes to fly in a tight vertical formation with less than 20 feet of separation, their radar returns merge. On a primary radar screen, 3 separate smuggling flights appear as a single, large civilian blip. You synchronize this formation to follow the exact flight path and speed of a scheduled commercial airliner. By mimicking the profile of a Boeing 737, your entire fleet bypasses automated threat detection systems that are programmed to ignore legitimate commercial traffic. You have mastered the logistics of invisibility. By turning the most monitored airspace in the hemisphere into a predictable, scheduled highway, you've made yourself the most valuable asset the organization owns. But that value is also your cage. You run the sky, but you can't walk down a public street without a security detail that reports your every conversation back to the boss. You've built a system functioning perfectly, as long as you are at the center of it. Resignation isn't an option. You know the radar's blind spots, every corrupt kernel, and every secret fuel depot. You are a walking encyclopedia of the organization's vulnerabilities, which means you can never be allowed to leave. Even at the top, you are always under observation. The same men who depend on your logistics are the ones staring at your data, waiting for the first sign of a pivot or a secret bank account. In this business, oversight is just another word for survival. You watch the new recruits come in, 22 years old, desperate for a way to use their license, turning the key in a rusted Cessna on a dirt strip you mapped out 10 years ago. You've achieved everything you wanted when you first took that flight, but the view from the top only reveals one thing. The door you walked through at the beginning only opens from the outside.